Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very 21st episode of Cooldown Timer. I am your host, Neefu, and with me today I am joined by Zingles, Artman.
Excessive consumption may have a laxative effect.
And from the frozen wastelands of Alaska, Mark Hamilton.
Excelsior!
Hey guys. Yeah, today's gonna be a really eclectic episode because none of us really had all that much to talk about, but you know, it's tradition every week to record these, so we thought we would record one. It may end up being utter crap, but you know, we utter crap for you, the listener.
Stay tuned, true believers.
Okay, so one thing that I wanted to talk about last week that was just kind of a random topic that, I don't know, might be fun to discuss are cliffhanger endings. What do you guys think
Nicolas
of
Cage,
cliffhangers?
good or bad? I
don't know. I've always loved a good cliffhanger ending because the anticipation and the excitement for the resolution is always, not always, I guess.
Like Surface.
Gosh, yeah, when it's forever just like cliffhanger and it's canceled.
And yeah, we're just dead. No, I mean, I have no qualms with cliffhanger endings as long as they finish the story arc
as long
eventually.
As there's some resolution
yeah.
somewhere. Mark, what do you think?
I'm against.
You are against. Gasp. Why?
Really? I didn't know that.
Well, two reasons. One, if it's a TV show, it might not get renewed, as has happened to so many shows.
Well, and that doesn't necessarily mean a cliffhanger ending of a season. Like, it can be just an episode ending that ends in a cliffhanger.
Will our heroes make it out alive? Will Superman make it there in time?
Will the chicken nuggets get cooked enough to not give a coli to the little children?
Find out next week.
On Superman Works at McDonald's, the movie, the TV series, the video game.
I'd buy that for $1.
That's the name of the TV show. It has the movie at the end of
it. Let's make it. All right, we're gonna
the moving picture.
We're just gonna start our
motion picture miniseries event based on the book, which was
based on a comic, based on a true life event.
The other reason I don't like cliffhangers is if it's an author and they're like writing a series, you know, they could die. It's happened.
Don't take that life risk. Finish up your stories while you're alive.
So other than the potential for the cliffhanger not being resolved in an unfortunate circumstance, setting aside the potential downsides of having an unresolved cliffhanger and never getting your itch scratched, other than that, what do you think?
I think it messes up the story arc. You get to your climax, and then instead of going down into a denouement, you get off a cliff, and then you have to pick it up again the next time. So you got to get people back up to speed. It's just like a speed bump.
So you get storytelling blue balls.
It's like a pothole.
Wow. I have such a different view of cliffhangers than you do. Oh, I adore cliffhangers.
Yeah, they draw out the sensation and.
Oh no, yeah, like just like that. It builds up that intensity. And then it just leaves you hanging on a cliff. And I don't know. I love that anticipation. Like, for example, what was it? Season 2 of Battlestar Galactica had one of my favorite cliffhanger endings of all time. I spent those like 8 or 10 months just like freaking out.
There is a definite downside to cliffhangers that I have kind of found. For me, there's been several times where there's a cliffhanger ending, and then the next season.
Say that again because you had like a little gurgle burp.
And I'm making all kinds of noises today.
I can't tell if I'm elated or gassy.
What's that from?
Like Frozen.
Okay.
Can't tell if I'm elated or gassy.
That's your catchphrase.
Can't tell if I'm elated or gassy.
Okay, all right, anyway. There's been several times where there's a cliffhanger ending and I'm all super excited for the next season and everything, and then I leave for a while, and then what happened starts to kind of drift from my memory, but I remember it being this epic thing, but I'm no longer emotionally connected to that point anymore, and I realized that if I'm to get back into it, I actually have to go back and backtrack a little bit.
And that's something that's a general thing with serialized television that
it's harder for me when it's a cliffhanger though.
Trippy. Yeah, I don't know. I love me my cliffhangers.
Yeah, I overall, I mean,
I see your Battlestar Galactica cliffhanger ending to a season, and I raise you Stargate Universe.
Stargate Universe was trash from the beginning.
I loved Stargate Universe.
It was a piece of crap.
It was awesome.
The first 5 or 6 episodes were a masterclass in Deus Ex Machina. Holy crap! Oh no, there's a problem! Let's freak out about it for 45 minutes before the spaceship solves it for us!
it's really nice for you to rant at someone besides me.
Yeah, I'm really surprised, because I found it pretty awesome. And reminded me of Battlestar Galactica.
No, that was the thing. Okay, so what I loved about Battlestar Galactica is, yeah, it had all the cool drama and the dark stuff and all that stuff, but it used that to deal with major issues in real life. Like
In real life on your spaceship.
Yes, that's what I loved about the show so much was, yes, it addressed real world, modern day issues. Stargate Universe was just like all about the drama, and it did not have that underlying oomph. It had nothing there.
I'd say it had oomph. And I say it had
I'd say my problem with Stargate Universe, I think it had more of like a oomph because it was just so slow to me. And I don't mind slow, but Stargate Universe was a little too slow for me.
I hated it.
My big complaint is that they got canceled after a cliffhanger where things were really looking to get interesting.
After 2 seasons, it was finally looking to get interesting. You sound like one of those weed nights. Oh, give him a couple seasons, then the show will be good.
It was interesting before that.
I can't get into Buffy because the freaking first
they had
episode is just all
aliens here.
90s cliches.
Now you're going to hate on Buffy. We're going to lose our considerable audience.
Yes, our considerable
I've
audience
never
of like
seen
15
Buffy.
people.
Shame on you, Zach. Because, I've seen, like,
Name.
a lot of episodes.
Name.
Like,
Name.
the
name,
one where
name,
Buffy
name,
kills a vampire.
Name. 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 Name.
You done chanting?
I am. Who is this Zach that you speak of?
We have no clue who
He
this
sounds like
Zach
a very
is.
fabulous person.
Yes, you got me. It's fine. Wasn't that good a joke anyway?
No, yeah, you said Zach's name.
Yes, I noticed. A bit late, but I noticed.
If we didn't rub it in your face enough. But yes, Buffy. I tried watching Buffy, but I couldn't get past the horrible 90s cliches and the full screen.
The 90s were weird. It's in full screen?
Well, it's because they didn't record TV
true.
shows in friggin' widescreen. He had to fight to be able to shoot Firefly in widescreen, even though they slapped him on the wrist for framing it in widescreen. They were like, "No, you're reshooting this, so that we can actually air it in full screen."
Weird.
Speaking of shows that got canceled and people want to come back or don't want to come back, I know this is probably going to be crazy old news for you guys. They're bringing back Heroes?
Oh, yeah. Weird. I feel like that's a little young to be brought back.
Yeah, never really got into that
season and
As did I.
enjoyed most of it, but
That was another one of those situations where it was like, cliffhanger ending. Well,
it didn't have a cliffhanger. They resolved most of the stuff.
well, okay, it wasn't a cliffhanger, but it was just like a, look at all this new weird stuff. And then they just end it, and you're like,
Well, from what I've heard, it was originally supposed to be kind of an anthology show where each season was going to focus on a different new group of characters.
that would have been kind of cool.
But then they started to like the characters that they had created, and were like, let's keep them around. And so their big epic resolution turned out to be
We're making money. We don't want to stop making
I'm sorry.
money.
I can't get over it. Real life problems?
Yes!
Battlestar
Yes!
Galactica. Are we talking about the same show?
Mark, come on, think about it.
The
How
show
many
came
times do
out-
you have to deal with a robotic AI
Wow.
being in your head.
Wow.
But then it's-
You guys are really going to make me fight this out, aren't you?
Here's
You're
the
going to
thing,
make
though.
the guy who can't think on his feet fight this out.
Here's the thing,
It's
though.
just like
That
all
sounds
the
a little
AIs
bit ridiculous.
that are killing people today.
But it's a really common occurrence for AIs to have an image of you in their head.
Shut up.
So
Shut up. No, okay. So
We love you,
the original
Battlestar
Battlestar Galactica miniseries
And we-
aired in
and
2000.
it's true how I don't know if my boss is a Cylon or not.
I
Don't
hope you
worry,
guys
their
all
spines
fall
glow.
off the cliff. If you guys are ever hanging on a cliff, I am stomping on your hands so that you fall off that cliff. Resolve that, bitch!
sometimes plummeting is the resolution.
Hey, I like Battlestar Galactica, but I ain't gonna pretend it's
Okay.
all Phil's.
I did. I loved Battlestar Galactica, but
No, okay.
silliest thing, the silliest thing in that show was the spines glowing red. That made no, like, in the
It
realms
looked
of
cool.
the show. In the realms of the show, it made no sense. Because it's like,
Looks
there's
like some LEDs up to this
there is
robot's spine.
no way to tell if they're a robot.
Unless you have sex with them.
Best job. No. No one expects the Battlestar Galactica
They gave
Inquisition.
Voltar the job of figuring out a Cylon detector. Who better? Okay. So Battlestar Galactica, the miniseries originally aired in 2003. That was 2 years after 9/11. They focused so much on creating that to be a reaction to 9/11. It was about a world where you didn't know who your enemy was. And I am totally running this into the ground because I actually can't think on my feet. And I am trying to
Cylons
defend
were
this
created
thing.
by man.
No.
Terrorists were created
You
by
know,
man.
it was a parallel metaphor thingy. This is I
They
need
evolved. I don't
you
remember
guys
that.
continue talking. I am looking this shit up. Can I borrow your computer?
We
really
broke
fast?
him. We broke him. Okay.
I did it. I succeeded. He's gone now. Let's continue. It's our podcast now, Zam.
Internet 5, Mark. That was pretty enjoyable. So, what have you been up to?
Oh, this and that. Well, there's a big event in town called the Fur Rondy.
The Fur Rondy? That sounds like a place where
Yeah.
a bunch of furs show up together to have a party.
I think that actually kind of describes it pretty well. I mean, the Rondy is short for rendezvous, which is sort of a classical thing that mountain men and trappers would do in the old days. Because if you're a trapper, you spend most of your time alone in the mountains,
Right.
creating a slowly growing pile of animal furs. You know?
When you put it like
And then
that sounds like a pretty
once a
miserable
year,
existence.
all of the trappers get together at the rendezvous, and they haven't seen people for ages, so they party. They drink. They have axe throwing competitions and shooting and whatever stupid thing they can think
But
of.
most of all,
And
fur.
yeah, that's also where they sell all their fur, because you can't sell fur in the mountains. They've got plenty of fur in the mountains. No, so they get together to sell their stuff. Nowadays in Anchorage, the Fur Rondy is a big event with a carnival and a parade and dog sledders and stupid contests.
But most of all, fake fur.
No, real fur. Everyone's covered with fur up here. Even the environmentalists
Peter.
have fur. It's cold.
It's just practical.
I saw a guy with a lynx on his head.
Okay, that's kind
Like
of
his
awesome.
hat was made of a lynx head and had paws hanging down over his ears. Real.
Wow,
Real paws.
that's kind of awesome. When I was working at the farm, I had to put together a Native American costume, and I wanted a wolf head that I could make into like a hood. But
I think
those
I've
are
also seen a wolf head. There's a lot of fur up here. I wish I had some.
there are a lot of weird characters up there in Alaska. I've never
yes,
been.
there's a lot of weird characters up here, because a lot of crazy people live in Alaska. Also, the drivers are nuts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I'm slowly becoming more and more insane.
that's terrifying.
Yes, it is. It's a dog-eat-dog world when the ice covers all the lines.
Well, fun. So you said you've been rereading the Watchmen
Can't
comic.
believe we actually got rid of him.
Yeah, we killed him. He's actually laying on the ground bleeding out of his brain, and by that I mean he's on Wikipedia. So I heard you were rereading Watchmen.
Oh yeah, Watchmen. Great comic.
I actually never read the comic.
Well, it's a classic.
Neefu makes a face and goes, at the mention of the comic.
It's like a piece of literature, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, the movie was amazing. Did you ever see the movie?
No, because I didn't want to see the movie till I read the comic, and then I read the comic, and I had no desire to see the movie.
It's a good movie. You should watch it. Definitely watch it. Actually, that could be. We should all watch that together at some point.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat.
Don't be in Alaska.
But I can already tell I'm gonna have complaints because Night Owl is not fat enough.
Night Owl is not fat enough?
Yeah, in the comic he's like 45. He's got a gut. He's been retired for like 10 years, you know?
Well, there's 2 Night Owls, right?
No, I'm not talking about the really old Night Owl. I'm talking about the one with the floating ship. And the actual... Yeah, he's like in the comic, he's like 45 or something. He's got a gut. He's been retired for a long time.
I didn't know that.
But of course you couldn't have someone like that on the silver screen.
Anyway, Neefu is rejoining us after raiding the internet for the answer to his argument.
Well, okay. Again, I'm a horrible thinker on my feeder, as is exemplified by that sentence.
The problem is that you're trying to think with your feet. Don't use your feet when you're thinking. Think with your head.
Okay. Okay, at least from my interpretation of the 2003 Battlestar Galactica, there were 3 major real-world themes that were addressed throughout the course of the series. The first one, the show having come out 2 years after 9/11, was one of the first ones to try to be ballsy enough to address the post-traumatic situation reaction of a nation or a people group. And because it was doing it as sci-fi, yes, with robots and in outer space, it was able to do it a little more intimately than other stuff would be able to do for quite a few years because it had that little bubble. Some of the stuff addressed stuff that, I mean, it's a very widely used theme, but is it enough to just survive, or do you have to have something worth living for? Things like that.
He says as he reads off his notes. Also,
I was actually staring at you the whole time. I was not reading my notes.
You were trying not to.
And say the same thing about a bunch of different shows, including Stargate Universe.
Full circle. Oh. Also, there's actually some stuff in Battlestar Galactica where there's a couple scenes where the Cylons are saying things like "for Allah" and stuff right before they blow. I'm kidding.
No. Yes, it does address suicide bombing in season 3.
I'm being sarcastic.
I'm not.
I'm teasing you because you're taking this
Season
so roughly.
3.
No, well, actually, I think that was in the webisodes in between seasons 2 and season 3.
Was what?
The discussion of suicide bombing. No, it may have been in, or the, moving.
I'm just glad our terrorists don't regenerate.
It was last episode that I was talking about how I used to be I tied my identity in with Battlestar Galactica. It was last week that I was talking about how defensive I used to get. Wow, apparently some things haven't changed in 5-10 years.
Maybe Mark will join me in a little song. Let it go.
Let it go.
Give up.
No, nah. I like Battlestar Galactica. I am just still sore.
You can get Netflix for $8 a month. You can get it for free for 2 weeks. You can go finish those last 2 seasons all by yourself. It has not been my responsibility to provide you with media for the last 6 years. You are a grown man. Get your ass off your couch, go get Netflix, and watch it.
By the way, Netflix is awesome.
Wow.
It's YouTube for adults.
No, that's not what I'm sore about. I'm over that now. I've had time to heal. I'm sore because you called musicals boring. And this is my revenge.
And I'm just on for the ride.
Well, they are, so...
Battlestar Galactica is overhyped.
I saw a scene from... what's the musical you were talking about? The one you really like, Mark?
Dr. Doolittle.
That was my childhood love.
No.
Les Miserables?
No. The one with the plants.
Oh.
Crazy Shop of
Little
Mad
Shop of Horrors?
Yeah, I saw a scene from that, and it was just like, I want to watch this. It looks so silly.
Oh, what scene did you get? It is silly.
I don't know. I just saw the puppet plant.
Yeah, it's a really good puppet.
It is a good puppet.
They
I love
actually
good puppets.
sped up the puppet. They did the puppet in slow motion and then sped it up. So anytime you see an actor in the same scene as the puppet, they are acting in slow motion.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
We'll have to watch this one.
But it really makes the puppet look less puppet-like.
Let's talk about something else we can yell about. That was fun.
Well, we've all yelled at me through MMOs. We've yelled at Mark about musicals, and we've now yelled at you on Battlestar Galactica.
What's something else that we all have very, very different, passionate views on? That isn't
Watchmen
crazy.
movie. Not
it.
fat enough.
I
Not
liked it.
enough fat. Lack of aliens.
I acknowledge that it was a very controversial, or not controversial, but decisive film. Either you loved it, you hated it.
He hasn't seen it yet, though.
No,
You should
I
watch
haven't
it,
seen
Mark.
yet.
You'll hate
I
it.
should.
I mean,
I don't even mind that they changed the ending because the book that's got a lot of stuff going on in the actual book itself, and I can see why they would go with the different ending.
well, I mean,
they did. It's
sometimes,
a lot easier to explain in the concept of a film
right?
where you don't have as much time to develop stuff.
Though, watch the extended edition or whatever
Director's cut.
director's cut, because my
It
favorite,
won't bring back my tentacle alien.
scene from the movie is in the director's cut.
Speaking of movies, I bought a Winnie the Pooh Blu-ray this week.
What?
We are really going off script today.
We didn't have a script.
We had a list. This is off list.
Put it on the list. No, I recently started freaking out about the fact that some of the Winnie the Pooh movies or videos that I watched as a child, my kids wouldn't be able to see because we owned them on VHS. And so I was like, okay, I gotta go hunt these down. And apparently Disney released them all on a single disc, all the ones that I was, the original 4 Winnie the Pooh videos, like what, In the Honey Tree, and Tigger 2.
Those original four are
Blustery
pretty good.
Day.
Okay. Are we
Day
talking
for
about
Eeyore.
like the real old ones?
Yeah, the original
Or
ones.
the moreish, modernish ones? Because I was
like
kind of
the-
raised.
there
I
was
was
one that
raised
was in
on
this-
the Winnie the Pooh TV show.
Oh yeah, no, I love that too, but
Winnie
they
the
haven't
Pooh.
friggin' released that.
No, the Pooh Bear, Winnie
Time
the
to
Pooh
get up,
Bear.
time to get going. Gonna see a friend of mine.
He's round and he's cuddly and loving because he's just Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh Bear.
Chasing the honey. Out
That
there.
show was awful, though.
Right in the
I've
childhood.
actually rewatched some of the more recent or some episodes of it, and I feel
We had
nostalgia glasses.
we had like well, see, I wasn't nostalgic about that show at all, but we had
love
like
that.
16 episodes or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and we watched over and over.
The
my
one
my
where-
little
one
brothers watched.
The one where Rabbit saves a baby bird from a snowstorm is the saddest one.
Kessie,
Yes.
right? The bluebird.
Yes. Also, what's up with Rabbit? Boy? Girl? What is
Boy,
me?
it's a boy. They call him a he.
Yeah, but I always thought of Rabbit as a female. And you can't tell from the voice.
I know. He's got the weird chest thing. Bunny boobies.
I never thought to care. Just like Piglet, I didn't
So
care.
what was the Winnie the Pooh movie that came out a while back with the "I cannot not" line or whatever? In
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
That was a great
that
scene.
That was one of my favorite. I showed that to my mom, who English is her 3rd or 4th language, and she's like, and that is exactly why English is a pain to learn.
That's awesome.
Zam, you remember when we were a couple of grown adult men hiking on Mount Rainier doing rugged stuff and we started singing songs from that Winnie the Pooh movie?
No, that doesn't sound like me at all.
You know, forever
That movie, I hated that movie.
is a very long time.
And if they so choose
Before your eyes, you'll see you
multiply.
multiply. He's extraordinary. No, we're not getting into this. No, Pooh's Grand Adventure is a terrible. Well, it's not a terrible movie, but it is so dark and depressing for a Winnie the Pooh movie.
It really is.
They were dark and depressing from the very beginning.
But there's like a scene where he's like sitting in a tree singing about the fact that he like basically thinks Christopher Robin's dead and it's his fault.
Look at the in I think it's in Tigger 2. Tigger comes over, steals Winnie the Pooh's honey, and is like, "Oh yeah, you mean elephants and weasels?" I did not realize that there was a connection there until
really?
I rewatched it yesterday.
Wow. Well, I guess I had little siblings.
But no, so yeah, heffalumps and woozles. That is a disturbing little thing for a little child.
Well, Dumbo had
You know
pink
what else
elephants.
was a really, really disturbing
What?
video? Did you guys ever watch the animated like half-hour, 45-minute thing of little a train engine that could or whatever? The little engine that could.
When I was really
Thomas
little,
the
I had
Train
the
Engine?
book.
No. It was about this train that had to get over a mountain.
Yeah.
And like at the top of the mountain. Yeah, exactly. No, at the top of the mountain, it was like all stormy and scary and stuff in the movie.
That's not canon. It's not how it is in the book.
Yeah, it's not fanon.
The book is just a gravity thing.
You know, little engine that could fandom.
Jeez, we usually get into some like nostalgia, but this is going way back. Winnie the freaking Pooh. I haven't even thought. I've never really been nostalgic about Winnie the Pooh. The original four
The animation
were really
looks
good.
so nice on the Blu-ray.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
I actually
For
really
the most part.
well because
there's some weird thing like in the scenes that have a lot of motion, it gets a little fuzzy,
the original four were really they had that really sketchy animation style. I actually really like that animation.
Let's play Pooh Sticks.
Well, and then like later on, I've played Pooh 6 before.
I know. Yeah,
it's hard to keep track of your stick.
Which so when they play Pooh Sticks
all the time because I had that bridge.
Yeah,
when they play
through,
Pooh Sticks in the video, they all have
Perfect for
sticks
Pooh
that
Sticks.
look the exact same. You do not play Pooh Sticks getting sticks that look the exact same. You get other sticks.
I think Christopher Robin was just cheating them all and being like, oh, see, I won again, you losers.
And if you don't tell me I win, you're going back into the toy box.
They don't have a toy box. They have houses.
Weirdly enough.
I wonder how they didn't
Also-
get mildewed.
They didn't have houses in the first chunk of The Good, the Bad, and the Tigger when they were playing with the train set when Christopher Robin was out of the room and Tigger steals the friggin' train.
No, that series sucks.
I loved that episode.
Dude.
That was one of my favorite episodes.
Dude, they messed everything up. They were in a subdivision.
So?
Acre Wood.
Deep in the 100-acre woods.
It's imaginary!
Where Christopher Robin plays.
In his mind!
Not deep in the 100 acres of houses that look
It's
exactly
his
like yours.
backyard!
100-acre backyard.
No,
Full of heffalumps and woozles.
It's his 100 acres in his brain. I'm just BSing this. I have no idea what the true canon is.
If I remember correctly, the guy, and I don't remember names, and I'm not going to go look up notes, but the the guy who wrote the books.
Oh, his son hated it. It was based off of his son.
Yeah,
and
it was based off his son.
And his son's little toys, and the son hated it.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
Did I just steal your thunder?
it doesn't matter. It's Winnie the freaking Pooh. I don't care.
I care about
Winnie?
Winnie.
Now, if you were
freaking
talking
Pooh.
about Pokemon, I'd get
No!
upset.
No! Speaking of, early March, which will be a couple weeks back for you listeners, they're putting 2 seasons of Pokemon and a couple movies on Netflix,
Oh, really?
including the first season.
Oh, cool.
So we can actually rewatch it.
I've rewatched it,
Oh.
but I would rewatch it with you guys.
I don't spend money I don't need to spend.
It's $8 a month. You have a job. Get off your butt.
That's $96 a year I'm saving.
I'll tell you what. Give me $8 a month, and you will magically have access to Netflix.
Besides, if you sign up for Netflix, that's still like off your internet, right?
Correct. And you have your little Alaskan data cap.
Yeah.
Data clap. Data clap.
No,
Data clap.
no more.
Data clap.
Seriously, no more.
Data clap. Data clap.
So,
Actually, let me check the time.
well, remember we had that big 15-minute break in the middle of it too.
We'll give it a couple more minutes and then we're...
We didn't need this list today. I think we covered one item on
Actually,
our
we
list.
talked about everything on it, except for Bitcoins.
Oh, yeah. You got a 2-minute Bitcoin story?
Yeah.
You got a 2-minute Bitcoin bit?
Yeah,
a bit on the Bitcoins?
You got
Okay.
a bit Bitcoin?
Bitcoin,
People know
a
about
bit of a
Bitcoins.
Bitcoin bit.
They're digital money, not backed by anybody, right? I
I made
learned
some once.
I learned about them from a little article in a random newspaper magazine or something, like early 2013. You know,
Mm-hmm.
back when they were like $100 a Bitcoin. You know,
Yeah.
or even less. And then recently, like around January, I'd been kicking myself because they went up like, what was it, 3 or 4,000% in value.
I think they were going for like 6 or 7 recently, 6 or 700.
Yeah.
Which actually makes me wonder because I have a fraction of a Bitcoin. I wonder how much that's now worth. Well, I helped make it. Which you like set your computer to like basically solve puzzles. And if you solve enough puzzles, you create Bitcoins.
The internet is
It's
a terrifying and bizarre place.
But I have
here's the
like a
point.
fraction of a Bitcoin.
I was kicking myself because I could have made so much friggin' money, but at the time I'm like, I'm not gonna invest in this Bitcoin business. This seems ridiculous, you know?
Personal computers?
Well, it was because the article said like the max amount of Bitcoins that can be made was like 100,000 or 1,000,000 or something like that, and I'm like, well, that's stupid. There's 6 billion people on planet Earth. You don't have enough for everyone to have a coin. I didn't know you could have bits of Bitcoins. No one explained that to me.
They're not called whole coins for a reason.
Anyway, I was kicking myself, and then recently the Mt. Gox exchange, recently for us, way in the past for you guys listening, it went bankrupt. It's filing bankruptcy because of hackers. And I'm thinking, it's a good thing I didn't try to make up for my mistake by buying when it was high, because this is going to really lower the price.
Because they're crashing now.
Do you guys, okay, the hackers thing made me think of this. I love how every specifically 90 movie with a hacker had the silliest animation for hacking.
I'm hacking.
They don't treat hacking any better nowadays. It's just a magic thing that people do with computers.
They treat it better than they did in Jurassic Park.
That's a low bar to jump over, Zam.
Do you remember Jurassic? Jurassic Park is a wonderful movie.
Hold on to your butts.
And it has some great lines. But they have a scene. Do you remember the hacking scene from Jurassic Park?
I do.
She is scrolling through a digital version of the park.
They did that a lot.
Just because they wanted to play with some 3D graphics.
They did that a lot in movies back then. But no, friggin'... Nope, nope.
She's a
nope,
hacker.
And, you know, the cool thing about Jurassic Park is that
Dinosaurs.
those dinosaurs still hold up well. Like, they still are, they're still great.
That's why I believe in practical effects. Though it was 3D with practical. But
yeah.
And that's
I
why
like
you
practical
don't...
effects. I like miniatures. It's actually really hard to get good miniature work these days because
CGI.
basically miniatures cost a lot of money. But CGI costs a lot of money too, but the CGI is spent on the back end. If you want miniatures, you have to put in your budget up front, you know? Whereas if you say, we'll just do it in CGI, well, the movie's 80% made, but suddenly the CGI is more expensive, they'll give you more money to finish it, you know? You're almost done.
The problem with minis is noise.
Oh,
Film grain.
noise,
No, like film grain. Because the film grain gives away the fact that it's a mini.
It can be done well, though. I mean,
I haven't seen it done well many
I've
times.
seen it done
well, I'm really curious to see what they do with
like
the new
Lord
Star
of the
Wars.
Rings
They're
did
talking about using
miniatures
minis.
really well.
Speaking of more contemporary pieces of art in quotation marks, using old classic styles of graphics, do you hear about the new FMV video game that's coming out soon?
Oh, they're doing another? I always loved full motion video. It looks so cheesy.
What is full motion video? I don't even...
Basically, it was, do you remember that Star Wars game that I had you play once where you played Kyle Katarn
Dark
and
Knight.
there was like the live action with like really bad CG.
Basically, the cutscenes are live action.
No, so it's live action with really bad CG. They're doing a new one that comes out like later this year. It's like
awesome.
Tech something or the other. Link in the description. But I saw the trailer for it. I got so excited. It was like yay! Bad old things coming back popular.
That's awesome.
They were great. They were so cheesy. Most of them are made in someone's basement or something.
Right.
I think this it's supposedly like a sequel to a long-running FMV video game series, but they used Kickstarter just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And
We need to get just like all the cinematics and put them together and into one solid, coherent storyline.
Well, you know
terrible acting.
You know that game Thief that they just made or they rebooted recently? In the original game, the cutscenes were full motion video, but everyone was silhouetted. You couldn't actually see them; they were just silhouettes. You know. And
I once had a story that had that name.
Well, it
Nothing ever
actually
happened of it.
It holds up pretty well later. Like
I can imagine that working well.
If you play it now, it's like, oh, that's cool, you know. Whereas the other ones are like, oh, so cheesy. But because they were just silhouettes, it works.
This kind of Mark, you showed me Thief and the Cobbler, right?
Yes.
Is it a peach cobbler?
I mentioned Thief and the Cobbler to Neefu today, and he was like, "Is it a peach cobbler?" And I'm like,
And he didn't know what a cobbler was. How do you not know of a cobbler?
I know
like
of
the
cobbler.
Tasty,
I know of cobbler,
fruity
but
pie that's not a pie. That's
But
like
man.
it's a cross between a pie and a cake.
Square pie.
It's if you took a pie and baked it like a cake.
here's the problem, though. I said the Thief and the Cobbler, and you were like honestly wondering if it was like
I knew it
made
was a
of thief.
stupid shoe man. I knew it was a shoe man.
Shoe man.
I just like peach.
But I was confused because it was so obvious not a cobbler. I was wondering why.
But it was a cobbler.
It was so obvious not a peach cobbler or any other fruit
Well, I
kind
was
of
asking.
cobbler. But anyway, no. So that movie has the freaking weirdest animation.
Which we'll talk to you about next
I'd
week
really
because
like to
this
talk about
episode's
that next
wrapping
So
up.
wait, are we ending on a cliffhanger?
Yes, we're ending on a
Let's hope we don't
cliffhanger.
get canceled.
You better hope we don't die or get canceled.
Man, it would be really sad if one of us.
And next week you're like, wow, we were going to talk about Thief
Well,
and the
no, and
Cobbler.
here's the other thing. We're not going to remember about this because the next time we record is going to be in 2 or 3 weeks.
I'll remember.
It's going to...
I love Thief and the Cobbler.
Ow.
I'll remember.
Okay, so everybody, it is your responsibility to remind Mark in 2 or 3 weeks that we're supposed to talk about the Thief and the Cobbler.
It wouldn't be in 2 or 3 weeks for them, though.
Yeah, they'll...
Actually, it would be about now. Go remind Mark right
God,
now.
Time travel. Of course.
Go back in time and remind me.
And on that cliffhangery note, we have did I already do that?
I don't know. Just go for it.
On that cliffhangerylicious note, we have come to the end of episode 21 of Cool Down Timer. I am Neefu. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter at Straight Up Neefu, which I had to do because some people already stole my friggin' name on friggin' Facebook and Twitter. However, they did not steal my name on YouTube. So you can check me out on YouTube at Neefu. Zingles Artman here is available on Twitter and Facebook at Zingles Artman, but he never does diddly squat with it. And Mark Hamilton here is available on the page nebula.wordpress.com. I see you've been posting some controversial stuff lately.
Have I? I try not...
Have you?
I'm posting about controversial things, but I try not to be very
I didn't actually read the
controversial.
last one. Zingles Artman and Mark also have YouTube channels that Zingles Artman posts comments with, and Mark does videos
I have
on
a YouTube channel.
old
I don't
dead
post
people.
video. Question of the week is, what's your most nostalgic
What
movie?
what
Show.
did you watch as a child that nobody could ever change your opinion of, regardless of how much rational proof they placed in front of your face?
as so eloquently put by our own Neefu?
Thief or cobbler?
Shoes or pie? Or no, shoes or fruit?
Well, obviously you're going to go with food.
Cake or death?
Unless
I'll have
you
the
don't
cake,
have
please.
shoes. Anyway,
No, I'll have the cake. You said death first.
We're gonna run out of cake at this rate. Okay. Good night,
Hasta la
everybody.
vista, baby. To be continued.
Dun, dun, dun. Will they remember to talk about Thief and the Cobbler? Find out next time on the next exciting episode of Cooldown Timer.
Same cooldown timer place. Same cooldown timer channel.
I don't know. I think Cliffhangers, Squirble, Clark, Squirble drop out.
That was disgusting.
That was a heart burp.